If you're a Minecraft fan, you know the absolute joy it is to build random things from your imagination, things you, your friends, and family have built together, or even maps meant to recreate the locations and media you enjoy. In fact, that's why I'm here today, to give a tour and archive some of my Minecraft worlds I don't really visit often, which have been collecting digital dust on my Xbox. So if you're interested, get comfortable and come with me on my trip down memory lane as we begin with... Starting off, there are two buildings right next to each other. One of them is an unfinished house. Stepping inside is a blank L-shaped room that I was probably going to make into a kitchen and living room. Then there's this garage, too small to actually fit anything. So it's more like a small storage space than anything else. Second building reveals is another goddamn FNAF map. I mean, what is there to talk about really? It's got the dining room, restrooms, kitchen, backstage, prize counter, hallways, office, and supply closet. Besides that though, the map has functional doors and lights inside the office. Plus working lights for the main building too. Something else that I noticed was the lack of any stages for the characters, and the fact that they're all wandering around, it seems. Well, except for Foxy, who's in the back, probably waiting to get repaired. You might be wondering, what the hell is with the long stretch of road around the map? Well, I thought this world was going to have a few family members playing on it, and we were going to build a bunch of stuff on it to make this into a town. However, that never ended up happening, so this is all that's left. Wow, that kind of sounded a little depressing. On to the next world. This world was originally in survival until I switched it over to creative for whatever reason. First up was this modernly designed house.
Ugh. Brother, ugh.
There's only stuff you come to expect in the survival world on the first floor, like a bed and crafting table. Heading upstairs leads to an unfurnished balcony, only with some plants found elsewhere in the house. The only other notable thing is this small sheep pen near it, and the fact I didn't even build this. Instead, it was by my sister's online friend who I had met and played Minecraft with a couple of times. Anyways, the awkward staircase leading to a base is what I had built. There's honestly nothing that notable here, just a main room with survival world necessities. 2 wheat farms, a room with a few sheep and chickens that was supposed to have its ceiling go to the very top of the mountain, acting like this sunroof just with no glass, as it would snow a lot up there and thought it'd be cool to mine it out and have it come into here. The other end of the wheat farm room leads to nothing but a blocked off cave, and going back, I noticed this pair of trap doors leading all the way down to one labyrinth of a cave system. I swear, old Minecraft cave generation was just something else. Anyways, I flew around for a bit to see if there was anything else and saw nothing. So now we move on to... Now we're finally at one of my favorite worlds I have made. Starting off, we have... I think this is meant to be a backyard-like thing with a doghouse and pool, which was built by that online friend. Not sure why I blew it up though. Anyways, I flew over to this minecart loop only to find that it's very broken. And to me it looks like some stuff you'd see in like Interloper C or something. Next to that is, over here next to a house is this neat block parkour I made, and besides falling off it 2 times, I actually beat this pretty flawlessly. Okay, enough flaunting my super epic parkour skills. This house is also built by the online friend I keep mentioning. It actually has this nice front entrance featuring a path and some flowers and trees. Heading inside, there's these 2 donkeys for some reason. The room to the left is just a bedroom, some chests, and functional lights. These I believe can be found in nearly every build throughout this world, so this is the only time I'll point them out. The next room was the bathroom, with some actual functionality. There's a toilet made out of a trap door on top of this hopper going to a dispenser. A shower with this ladder next to it that has a button making the water either turn on and off. And weirdly enough, no sink. Next is the living room / kitchen. It's got a couch with an unlit fireplace, a fridge that actually dispenses food, then just some counters and cabinets to have it come together. Now in the backyard we have Oh my goodness. Yeah, just a bunch of elder guardians squished together in a pool with another donkey just hanging out here. In fact, this is all that's out here. So, heading on up to the attic reveals there's nothing but this thing. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed, but there's this strange yet strong motif of dragon heads either scattered about the world or set up in these eerie / ritualistic setups like this one. Anyways, behind the house is this neat Portal 2 thing. As you can see, I tried recreating both the shell designs from each game alongside Peabody and Atlas, while I creatively used the bow and arrow as the portal gun. This house was actually built by my sister, who I had mentioned. Her house features a gigantic front yard with some flowers outside of its walls and a brick path leading to the steps that go inside. When heading in, it's noticeably huge and pink, but looking around, there's the kitchen with a furnace and some redstone inside of it, a glass table with some chairs, a bathroom with some chickens, which is actually even more weird than the redstone. What the hell is this? Turns out I must have replaced the water with chicken spawn eggs at some point. Knowing me, I probably wanted to prank my sister by doing this if we ever hop back onto the world again. Though, as you can expect, I don't think this ever happens. Anyways, this bathroom has the same shower and toilet design I made, but now with an actual sink this time. Oh, and there's this in the toilet because, of course. There's another couch in front of a fireplace that's actually lit up this time. Heading over to the other side of the house are 2 doors leading to a basement. There's also this ledge that you can climb on and look out to the window from. Nothing of note is in the basement, but there is this parrot named Coco just chilling down here. Straight ahead of the front entrance, you may have noticed another pair of doors. This leads right into a backyard, which has a few things. A cow and rabbit pen, the latter having a piston gate. There's a swimming pool, some lily pads, and a boat. And a treehouse that doesn't have a very spacious inside. Stepping back from full structures for a moment, here's some more weird dragon head things I made. One of them is on a repeater, causing its jaw to open and close. This one just has a lever next to it for activation. And then this one's just a straight up shrine, as said here in the sign. Seriously, I don't get why I was so obsessed with this freaking head so much. I think it might have been because the jaw moved and wanted to make stuff revolving around that. But this world's from like a few years ago, so who knows really. Also, before I address the giant box, there's this really weird stone thing behind it that I'm genuinely unsure if this is supposed to be or what it could have been, but thought it was interesting enough to point out. Now the giant box. The first thing I spotted inside, besides a plethora of dragon heads, is that. I actually don't even know how to properly explain this one. It's honestly just one of those things where it speaks for itself, really. Before I enter the humongous house, behind it is this building with a sign reading, Sir Dragon's Restaurant. Guess we finally got a name for this guy. The entrance is actually quite nice, with the lamppost and stairs. Not too sure about them dragon heads though. Inside are 2 identically furnished dining rooms, each of them having its own Sir Dragon out of the wall, like it's friggin' Texas Roadhouse or something. At the end of one of these dining rooms is the kitchen, which looks pretty standard, while the other has a jukebox in the corner. Something unique here is this admittedly awkwardly designed reception desk, mainly because of the wall in between the doors meant to hold the monitor up. To solve this problem, I thought it'd be neat to make this minecart system, allowing players to go from side to side so they can help out whoever's waiting for a table. Now for the moment we've all been waiting for. The house. While other structures haven't had much on the outside of them, this one is notable for the vines encasing it and the many flickering lights. Heading inside means to bear witness to the absolute disaster this place is in. There's overgrowth everywhere, broken floors, and more flickering lights. Some notable oddities are this hole in the floor, the Herobrine Shrine, and this timeout corner with a moving Sir Dragon head staring at you. If a child are put here, I think they start crying or something. The backyard is a mess too. It itself is severely overgrown, and the pool is just filthy looking in general, having that gross leaf buildup you'd find in one that's been unkept for months. There's also this Christmas tree, but instead of having actual ornaments on it, they're all just Sir Dragon heads covering the entire thing. I didn't mention it before, but there's this boarded up door leading straight into this weird FNAF-esque like area. There's only the stage, vents, and a cage apparently that are in the first room. And the office looks like a recreation of the FNAF 2 one, with the 2 vents, a center hallway ahead, and even the setup on the desk. I checked by the way, and there's nothing weird in the vents. Heading back where I came from, I was gonna go onto the second floor, but noticed these striped doors beneath the ladder. When I went down, I found an honestly weirdly disturbing sight, because there were these 2 mobs trapped in cages, one being a mushroom named Golden Fraudy, and the other was a wolf named Fuchs. The room itself seems to be in a rough shape because of the missing box on the walls, broken cages, and only being lit by redstone torches, which might be a standard for candles. There's also this eerie ass tunnel that I believe I was going to connect to everybody's house with for some reason. Now finally moving on up to the second floor. See what I did there?
That's not funny.
It seems to actually be in even worse condition than the first floor. There's cobwebs, mushrooms, still water. There's even heads and skulls with their dried up blood everywhere too. The possible implication being this is like a serial killer's house or something like that. Anyways, the features this floor includes are a sofa bed, a lit up TV with cupboards beneath it, a ritual circle, a parrot that I uncreatively named Lime, and 5 hidden rooms, which I'll now go over. Room numero uno is just a cramped space with some cobwebs and vines. Room 2 is what I believe is supposed to be a mirror room, since both sides look identical. Room 3 is what's behind the TV itself, featuring a flickering light, a Steve head, more mushrooms, and a lever to turn the TV on or off. Room 4 is another blank room with some vines. But oddly enough, there's this broken wall going to a part of the room that's got a dispenser, which is actually above the timeout chair. Then finally, the last room has nothing in it whatsoever. Finally being able to move on from the house now, there's this box with boarded up doors and signs reading, "Do not enter." But I didn't hear its warning and headed in anyways. Then was greeted by this absurdly creepy sight to see the room covered by Sir Dragon heads, both moving and not. Redstone torches are sprawled everywhere, with a bed in the center. And ending on that note, this is where the tour of this world ends, allowing us to finally move on to...
What?
This world does not have any special backstory or anything to it, unlike the previous ones, as this is just my creative world and I still actively play it on my Xbox. Anywho, the first structure I got into was, I believe, was an unfinished proof of concept build for Annie's Humble Diner. What each room was supposed to be were the dining room / show stage, kitchen, men and women's restrooms, and I think this is going to be an arcade room. Up next is another unfinished map, this time being a Danganronpa 1 recreation, as the dorm room halls, closet, and stairs meant to lead into the destroyed second floor. I stopped working on it because of how ambitious it was to accurately make this map without having access to the game during those moments. The map here, I'm sure you can already tell, is the billionth FNAF map I've ever made. However, it seems I matched together the FNAF 1 dining room and FNAF 2 hallway together while giving it an abandoned look. I'm genuinely so sick of listing out various rooms these fucking FNAF maps, it's going to drive me insane. So here's footage of me roaming around. Going back to the abandoned FNAF 3, there are these stairs that led up to a sister location-esque building that's also destroyed. When heading in, I wandered into this room that's supposed to be the scooper room, but kinda smaller than it really should be. This is obviously the control module found in the original game. This is supposed to be below a gallery, but it must have got a bomb dropped inside because holy hell, this room is being held together by hopes, dreams, and a whole lot of duct tape. This blank room is the Funtime Auditorium with nothing of note. However, I dropped down and found that the previous armor stands I passed actually had stuff on them. I think this is because there was a bug where they didn't load properly at first, until I had to come back and record this part since I almost forgot to do that. Anyways, there's Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, only now with their respective attire. Getting back on track for the last room, that being Circus Control, I remembered from the Cauldron, Structure Block, and other systems here was where I made custom leather armor for mobs to wear and represent various characters, all of which were FNAF characters. However, checking inside the Structure Block, there was still something ready to be loaded in by the name of Mick. And judging by the clothes, I'm sure you can tell who this is supposed to be. Moving on, here's some unique maps meant to be 3D recreations of dreams I've had. There's this maze-like structure which literally has nothing inside since this was made for mobs to fight and run away from each other in. The only two things I thought I mentioned is this courtyard and the fact that there's a second floor to this place. Now finally addressing the giant elephant in the room you may have been wondering about. What the hell is that huge ass map that's been in the background so far? Well, it's a mostly unfinished recreation of Bendy and the Ink Machine's entire map from Chapter 1 up until Chapter 4 based off of memory. I'll periodically comment on some things in the map and add subtitles for what part of the map I'm in. Other than that, footage from here on out is just going to be a cut down version of me wandering around. In areas where there's supposed to be boards, I added gates to this place to connect like one huge hide-and-seek map. The same can be said with doors which are supposed to be locked in the actual game, but have little cubbies a player can hide in. Looking back at how I made this gate, I'm quite proud of myself since I don't think I used any tutorials and figured out how to make it myself. I love how interactable I made this map to be, despite not being proportionally accurate and being generally unfinished. It's cool to see what I accomplished in the state I've left it in. Speaking of functionality in general, I made some good use out of command blocks to teleport players around the map in case there wasn't any space or way to connect some rooms together. It actually makes for some neat tricks, like how I actually fell when teleporting to the final chunk of Chapter 1's map. Something interesting about the Chapter 3 map is how I handled the player traveling to various levels throughout it, by having a hub room with command blocks taking you to them when you press another command block within the elevator itself. It's actually pretty smart, I'm not gonna lie.
Hello, Gordon. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Look, Gordon. Ropes. We can use them for big hits. Hello, Gordon. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm getting full, Gordon. We can use them for my clothes. Hello, Gordon. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Look, Gordon. Ropes. We can use them for big hits. Hello, Gordon. Feed my toys, Mr. Freeman. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Look, Gordon. Ropes. We can use them for big hits. Hello, Gordon. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm getting full, Gordon. We can use soda for my clothes. Hello, Gordon. Soda. Ropes. Hello, Gordon. My clothes. Look, Gordon. Ropes. We can use them for big hits. Hello, Gordon. A chair is a piece of furniture with a raised surface supported by legs, commonly used to seat a single person. Chairs are supported most often by 4 legs and have a back. However, a chair can have 3 legs or can have a different shape. Hello, Gordon.
And with that, this marks the end of my tour. I really hope you enjoyed this video, as I might make more of these in the future if I find anything else worth showing. In fact, there might be more Minecraft worlds on another account I use, but no promises in case I can't find anything. Anyways, that'll be all for me today. Goodbye for now.